Good afternoon, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans, and welcome to another community presentation. This time, we have got Zen0's Mystery Seed Weekend, which is already shaping up to be fantastic. In the booth with me today, we've got Devious RNG. How you doing?
Uh, I'm super excited, and I want to apologize for people who are new to Final Fantasy. Uh, this is going to be quite a ride for everybody. So yeah, come along this crazy trip with us. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited.
So, just to kind of set the stage, our runners and also the commentary booth, we are going to be engaging in science with this seed. We have no idea what the flags are just yet, except we have seen from a splash screen that may not have been visible when the stream went live, but we do know that this is a shard hunt. That's literally the only thing we know so far from the seed. We also know that there is a special rule that the runners are not allowed to look at the party select screen until the gate is dropped, which is very strange, but it's sort of telling.
Yeah. So we're at the moment typically we would start with characters already named, and we'd go right into Canaria. This is this is going to be our start screen. When the countdown timer hits 0 for our runners, they're going to hit continue. They're going to see their character select screen for the very first time, and you're going to have to watch our runners actively try to create a party as a part of their race.
And, one of the other things of note here, not so relevant to the party select itself, but the version that we see on this is 4.1.6. So this is the version that people are most familiar with. It was the version we were on for Spring Tournament. Just after Spring Tournament completed, 4.2 came out. And so there were a bunch of new things added there. Our runners are going to be a little bit more familiar with the possibilities with this.
In fact, in the race room chat, they're already talking about the change from 4.2 to 4.1.6 and just how that's going to be affecting their prep even before going into this run. Because like Saracen said, nobody has any idea what we're going to see here. So we're going to be trying to guess through everything as well as our runners in real time. Yep. And I know that we will be dropping the gate in about a minute, but Saracen, what would be your first turn the second you enter into?
I'm going to assume that you said party select at the end. You kind of cut out there. But my first thing is I'm going to check every slot to see if any are forced. I'm going to hit select, see if we're at chaos classes or if we have class blurrings. I want to know as much as I can from that party select screen as possible.
Yeah, I feel like one of the other things is trying to not overwhelm yourself with writing down too many notes on it. Just kind of like pick the majors, figure out what your comfortable party is. Like for myself, I'm thinking something Oreo is typically what I go with if I have that option available to me. But, again, we have no idea what we're going to see, and we have no idea what we're going to see once we actually hit the button and go into the overworld. Actually, I don't know if this is part of 4.1.6, but we have new starting locations as well in some of the newer flag sets.
Okay, so the gate has dropped.
Yeah, there's about a 10-second delay before our runners actually start, but we should see it any moment. Here we go.
Chaos classes.
Woo! Yeah, that's chaos classes right there.
That is a very interesting black mage.
Right. So the things. So by the at this point, I'm completely ignoring what the character is. All I'm looking at is stats. I'm looking at luck. I'm looking at the L. If I can find an A that has L, hit percent is big. Rank for someone that has a weapon, and I'm looking for magic types. There's way too many minor details to go into this. That's kind of what I'm passively looking at.
So the that fear that I had as as we went in, I think that thief was required in slot 2.
Okay.
I don't think that Fizzle was able to make that change. I might be wrong with that. He might have just decided, oh, it was here, I was going to do that. Oh, it is changeable. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, and we're also seeing Fizzle doing a very, very smart move, which is renaming the parties based on what their blursense ended up being. So you'll notice I think he did stage for his red mages because I think they can both do red magic or white magic and black magic. And so that.
Yeah, that's certainly a big deal. We are seeing weapon and armor blurses coming in here too. All right, so we're getting our first look at magic here. Fizzle is moving right along.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like it's savable. That's a good sign. One of the other concerns that we have as we go into these flags is, can you save at the inn? That is something you can turn off. You could be in a flag set where you can only save when you die, which that's a real challenge. We do have some starting items. It's a good sign for everybody here. Houses are very cheap. That's going to be very helpful for our runners as we go into this. All right, that looked like a vanilla Canaria castle. So that's good for potential on entrance shuffle. It's rare that you see Canaria Castle actually being Canaria Castle in an entrance. All right, Chadbert getting the first look. We have Monster in a Box turned on. This is going to be an interesting problem for our players. Fizzle, it looks like, is just trying to either kill off some characters early or determine what the possibilities are on these imps. Maybe get a couple early levels, something like that. We see Chadbert has already gotten his first stone, which is, I'm going to guess it's one of the shards.
Saracen, can you hear me at the moment?
I can now.
Okay, cool. My internet just went out, so I'm switching to a different system, but I should be good for the rest of the run. From what I heard, it looks like we got our first shards. Fizzle just found out that Wormek is in fact unleashed, and Monster in a Box is on.
I think, based on what I'm seeing here, it might be trapped shards. Actually, I don't know if that's an option in 4.1.6. So I know in 4.2, you can set the Monster in a Box to be specific to your shards if you have Shard Hunt on, or you can have it set to be just random items only, or you can do a lot of things in 4.2. I think in 4.1.6, the only restriction is that it can't be on a key item.
I'm pretty sure that the trapped shards is on 4.1.6 because it was something that I think we did it before spring tournament. So that I would think that is a potential here. I'm not sure exactly when I cut out, but I was noticing it looks like we have tiered magic shuffle, which means that we're not going to get anything like Nuke or Fire 3 or Fade in these first like one or two levels. We're more likely to get some of that lower magic coming in first.
You know, that is experience showing that I do not have.
Well, because it hit me with the first level white magic, we had, Ruse and Pure and a lot of, like, Ruse is a level 1 spell, I believe, in vanilla. And so to see that, and then to go to Black Magic and have very similar level, like 1 through 3 magic, that's kind of how I'm feeling about it, which definitely changes my approach going into the rest of this mid game, because now I know that I'm going to have to be thoughtful and creative with all of my spell purchasing and casting. I'm not going to be able to just get a Black Mage and nuke all the way through the rest of the game.
All right, so we're checking for bat hints. We are checking to see if this is Chaos Rush. It is not.
Yeah, I don't know when bat hints got added, but I've seen what it can do, and it shows, like, and I think this is 2 different types of experience. Fizzle, been playing for a very, very long time, very experienced runner, has run a lot of blind seeds before, but we have a lot of new flags that if you haven't been keeping up with the new flags that have been rolling out, that puts Fizzle at a disadvantage. So he's, right there. There's no taverns on.
So I
ahead.
have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
So we noticed that when we talked to Princess Sarah, she didn't teleport us. That would indicate to me that we're on an entrance shuffle, but that the Temple of Fiends and Canaria Castle are both in their vanilla locations. What do you think on that?
That's an interesting point. I mean, it is definitely possible. Oh,
Shuffle
you know what?
Astos!
See, and it looks like, Fizzle didn't talk to Sarah, did he? At least not yet.
Not yet.
That's again that experience of if you have that Shuffle Astos on. Enough of us have been bitten by Shuffle Astos taking off a good 5 to 10 minutes at the beginning of a run that, oh wow. Look at, and also notice how many hit points these bosses have. I think that's 300 to 400 right there, which is already well over our typical, that's well over our typical, like, 100 to 200% range for bosses. And already being at level 7 is a ton of experience for early game. Like I said, I missed a little bit because my internet went out, but that definitely makes me curious what our experience and gold scaling is going to be. I don't know if you already talked about this, but we already see Blur's class or Blur's weapons and armor. But the other thing that we're seeing is a shuffled shop items, and I'm not sure if that ice shield is a legendary item or if it's just a standard shuffled item. Because if there's legendary items shuffled, that means we could pick up a mass immune or a katana or really any other item in one of these weapon shops. So that's something we're going to want to keep our eyes out for as we go.
Fizzle making good progress here, getting to Bicky first. So I think the town shuffle is off. I hope.
I mean, it honestly, that the reason we teleported might have been a glitch in the Shuffle Astos. If we've gone 3 entrances, because Canaria Castle is an entrance as well as Temple of Fiends is an entrance. So I'm hesitant to feel like it's a floor and entrance shuffle, but it definitely could be wrong there.
It looks like we have our loot as the shop item over in Provoca.
Mm-hmm. Relatively
cheap
cheap.
heals.
Yep. I was thinking the exact same thing. Okay, yep, this is definitely a
legendaries in the shops. So that's
what
going to
I'm
be
feeling,
interesting.
yeah.
I think the opal is our thought there.
Oh, was there an opal? I didn't see an opal. Yeah, if there was an opal, I'm pretty sure that's part of the restriction.
Yeah, it was an opal gauntlet.
Okay. Because of my internet stuff, I'm not sure if I can see chat. So if chat's throwing stuff out there, Saracen, feel free to interject and see if they correct us on anything, because they are our lifeblood here, as well as Danny, our tracker, which we are incredibly grateful for.
Absolutely. And our fabulous restreamer Demon Frog mentioning the orange background of Canaria is a sign in regards to the shuffle. Hint NPCs are on. That's a good sign too.
Well, there's also with the hint NPCs, the newer versions have different levels of hints and how specific those hints are. And I believe that hint gave you dungeon floor, and I didn't get to read all of it, but it gave you very, very specific information as to where your key item was. So I'm curious to see how our runners utilize hints, simply because, as I mentioned, your more veteran runners are going to be less likely to check hints. And so that's where it's new flags versus old flags kind of muddles up how you approach these seeds.
So Fizzle heading up to Matoya right now, and the one thing that I didn't like in this walk, and this is me, as a scientist, I didn't see him attempt to bonk the river to see if he had a free canoe.
That's a very good point. I know the free canoe was something that we all had to learn about going into spring tournament, because it's such a rare thing that we have a free canoe. But especially with these blind flags, you're not able to tell that before actually diving into the seed.
It looks like we have shuffled item magic of some sort, because I saw a fear hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of, that's like the CC special there, right? Like, we're going to do the Exfer and Fear and see what happens. All right, Brett Warmack.
I think that was Spell Zap on a making Chaos run away during a hardcore during an Iron Gall championship match, which was definitely a sight to see.
All right, so we saw a Bane come out of the Warmack there. Those Warmechs are very scary.
Well, especially with the HP scaling that we've seen. I don't know how the stat scaling is. I haven't quite checked that closely enough. But it does look like the one thing that we can confirm is that shards are gated by monster in a box. Because I think we've seen 3 monster in boxes, and 2 of them had stones, and the other one we couldn't defeat. Unless I'm miscategorizing. But that definitely is going to approach how you start opening boxes and how you start moving through the world.
Mm-hmm. So some interesting information coming out of chat here. Demon Frog mentioning the pirates are hitting for 45 plus. Now, that sounds like scaling and not like buff pirates, because buff pirates can hit for like 100 plus.
Mm-hmm.
There's a canal in the box in Canaria Castle, so there's a piece of information that we had talked about prior to the stream. Do you have a free canal? Well,
mm-hmm.
did you bother to check for it?
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing, Classic Gamer bringing up that Fear is 3 and 256 with or without Exfer against most bosses, with the Liches and Carry 1 being the exceptions. I can't say I'm surprised by that information, but it's certainly information I didn't have before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Fizzle is taking advantage of one of those nice aspects of Monster in a Box for, really Monster in a Box does have a lot of advantages, but they are a lot of our alternate trap tiles that you'll see, so there are some very, very high experience enemies that are in these monster in boxes. The other thing, because we were talking about the canal being in Canaria Locked, what are the incentives? Like, are there incentive items? Are there incentive locations? Are there incentive NPCs? Are the incentives in dungeons randomized, or are they loose? so many questions. But what we do know, fortunately, is what Fizzle knows, is that the Elf Prince has the floater. And if there's anything you want to know the location of, it's that floater.
Right. That is huge information.
What did Sarah give us? She gave us the TNT.
Yep. So we have an excuse to go to dwarves.
Right.
Potentially.
Right. Well, and it also tells us that with the information that we have so far, it looks like our key items are linked to NPCs at minimum. So we at least have those. And the elf is a fetch quest NPC. So it looks like we're having main NPCs and fetch quest NPCs are both incentivized. We don't know what the incentive items are yet, but it does look like they are incentivized.
So Chadbert's still having some problems with Astos. He had gone off to take care of the pirates and then come back. Fizzle, meanwhile, he's getting his warp. He's getting his temper, most likely. I didn't see if he actually grabbed the temper, but you always pick up a spell in front of warp because, I mean, the warp boss is real. And looking at Exfer, I understand this rationale. When you're looking at potentially gigantic HP scaling on bosses, your desire to not kill them with damage goes up pretty significantly.
Right. Well, and you're also looking at Floor 3 of the castle reveals. Lost the train of thought. You're also looking at the fact that knowing that we have tiered magic shuffle means that you're not going to get your nukes and your fades until level 6 or 7. So the probability of needing to land a brack or a stun, I don't think stun, to land one of these other types of items is going to go higher. And then that's where you hit that limit of how well do you know what Exfer does, how Exfer works, and how those different status effects and insta-kill spells work on different bosses ends up coming to play a lot more.
Absolutely. Fizzle has completed his grand tour of Elftown. And back to the boat we go. Straight into a war mech on the water.
Yeah. I haven't been noticing, or I haven't gotten a chance to check. I don't know if Fizzle has been doing hard resets or soft resets through. One of the things I would be trying to do, and it looks like he might be trying to do, is try to find a location where War Mech is the first encounter off of a hard reset. Because as soon as you're able to defeat War Mech, you have essentially your super grind.
We do have a canoe. I think that might have been a free canoe this whole time. Because I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That sort of feels bad if you could have been taking advantage of that information before. We get our hooray tribute, cruelly leaving the dwarf to say his one word over and over again.
And for our TNT, we get a chime, which could be good or bad news. I think the better news is these tiles inside, or these extra treasure chests. But again, we don't know what our dock situation is. We don't know if we have northern docks on. Especially as someone who's been running a lot of, quote unquote standard flags. The standard flags have docks in to get to Mirage Tower. Oh, and Fizzle getting
that's a
rocked
Zomble,
by
all
thunder.
right.
Yeah, that's not fun. Probably skip that chest the next time he goes in there. It's my guess.
Probably.
Yep, and I lost my train of thought again. But it was probably a good point and very valuable information.
Very insightful, I believe.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's what I'm here for. Provide that expert commentary that is both fluid and linear and makes sense. I'm losing myself again. All right, so let's see. Fizzle's going to pick up these extra chests. I never actually counted. We have 5 rows plus 2. There's 6 shards per row, so 6 times 5 is 30, plus 2 is 32 shards or stones that we need to pick up here.
Quite a bit. I'm digging that ice 2 staff. Or was that an ice staff plus 2?
I think it's an ice staff plus 2.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah. Though, we did get a free dragon sword plus 3, and those were pretty expensive, and I think Fizzle got a rune 4 instead of the dragon 3. And the dragon's nice. I'm pretty sure it's the dragon. I get dragon and giant mixed up sometimes. Pretty sure it's the dragon sword that has the extra crit buff. So getting a dragon plus 3 early is very nice to have if your bosses end up having a high absorb rate.
Right. Ooh, Gasties. That's good news, potentially. And by
Was that
potentially, I mean, it was a monster in a box.
Oh, okay.
They did not
wow.
roll a lot of hit points. They rolled way down.
So it seems like bosses are gonna hit it seems like bosses have tons and tons of hit points, but the standard enemies have very few hit points.
So I want to caution on that because our sample size of bosses is 2, right? And I didn't see a ton of hit points out of Garland, but that could mean that we're on something goofy like 20% to 500% HP on bosses.
That is very true.
We are on B-sides with Water Nagas and Ice 3.
Yeah, this is
a place you stay if you can hang with these.
Yeah, I would say this is a money tile right here. It looks like those waters have around 300, more like 400 or 500 hit points, which is well within the range of what I feel comfortable for. Danny pointing out that this is one of Fizzle's numbered tiles. It's probably in the top 3, I think. I don't know his trap tile list as well as you do, but that Water Naga water tile is absolutely one of the best, if not the best, group trap tiles that you can find. So
yeah, with that particular spike tile, we have horizontal flip on our dungeons as we see on Chadbert's side. So that Water Naga tile is a tile that I would go and say, I am going to go buy a pile of houses, and I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to sit here for a little bit, and I'm going to make sure that I'm basically done for the whole seed. I'm done checking these grind spots. Flip side, though, is do we promote? Which is a real question. We could have change class of promotion, in which case, there's the big info. Herb in Marsh.
Which essentially, now that we know that the herb or the floater is locked behind the elf prince, we know that the herb in the bottom of Marsh is actually the same thing as getting the floater, which is probably going to have. Oh no. Chad found the rod in the standard incentive chest, and
it's in the key lock, didn't it?
It might be. So, and again, I
think he's still going to check chests, which is
so.
It's not a bad plan. He's going down. Now, the other question I had, and this is another thing that's available in 4.1.6, is randomized incentive locations. So we did see a vanilla location rod, but that doesn't actually mean that it's vanilla locations for everything. Ooh, there's a tile.
Yeah, that's a nice tile. It is not as good as the Water Naga tile, but it is a very nice tile to see. for sure.
So yeah, I would say it is potentially okay. Those Agamas, I think, had about 200 hit points.
Yeah.
So, that's not bad.
Yeah, if you have those Ice 3 casts, that's a nice tile. I think the thing that would prevent me from getting really excited about that, other than the fact that we know where another water tile is the fact that it's in a not good location. Things that you're looking for with those trap tiles are not just how much experience do I get for this. It is, where is that trap tile? How easy is it to get to? And then how easy is it to leave? Like, we do have warp, but there's limited charges of warp, and I think you need like 3 of them to get out of that particular location. If your warp casters go down and you don't have life, then there's a good chance of you losing your entire grind. But as you said, it looks like that particular tile rolled pretty low in terms of experience.
Oh, it's not even the experience. Oh, Chadbert, no. No. I hope he comes back. He's going to come back once he checks the hint NPC, and then he's going to be very sad that he had to come back.
Yeah, I didn't see if he had any houses. I mean, I could see the okay, I need to get a couple levels, and I'll come back eventually when I get houses. But yeah, Fizzle definitely is going to have a quite a bit of time save here, simply by the fact that he already knows that there must be a herb somewhere here in this particular dungeon.
So there's talk in chat about if this is a Danny seed, and just to clear this up, because this is so special, this event, the folks who made the flags rolled the seeds and sent the ROMs. So this is a very strange everything. That makes sure that nobody can see what the flags are as we're going into these. But that also means that you could have a relatively curated experience in these flags, since the person had the opportunity to check the ROM, see if it was one that they wanted to send off.
Yeah, and we were notified before the beginning of this tournament that the people who are creating these ROMs do have the luxury of hacking the ROM and altering data in the ROM if they so choose. So there is a probability that your small knife actually has the highest damage in the game if you are wise enough to check it. Granted, I don't know how much that's going to play into my strategy, but that it exists. It's a possibility.
Chadbert heading straight back into Marsh.
Yeah, I wonder if he didn't think he had houses, and that's why he went back to Elfland.
He had his fight or die, which I think was part of it.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
And he might be interested in checking the other chests here. We see Fizzle going to the Marsh attic.
Well, as Demon Frog pointed out, though, Marsh is very strange when it comes to its orientation. Like, going up, I don't remember which floor you actually enter it on, if it's floor 1 or floor 2. The fact that those stairs go down and this ladder goes down, I think you're right that floor B2 is also top Marsh. But it is a little, that and Sea Shrine are a little bit wonky in terms of what floor you're actually on. But there's a good chance here that that this is B2 in the north side here, and that's why Fizzle didn't fully freak out about not getting that rod out of Marsh here.
Chadbert just getting all the Warmack hate.
Yeah, that's never fun when you identify that section of the encounter table that's just Warmech after Warmech after Warmech. And Demon Frog pointing out again that it's 4 hits for over 900 from Warmech. So boss scaling is probably pretty high, as well as boss HP. Now, as you brought up earlier, we don't know what the low end of that is, but there's definitely a high end of that. And now
So-
I'm curious. Yeah, go ahead.
Chadbert is, I think, very set on taking this tile for a few extra levels, but I'm not sold on this experience out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Does this look to you, as you know, I'm trying to noodle my way through it? Does this look like it is high flat bonus to XP and low percent?
That's a good question. That's a very good question that I do not know the answer to.
The demon's saying probably because of Fizzle's tile being so much better.
Yeah. So there's so the way that experience is scaled is that there's a multiplier and then there's an adder. And I know that the calculations are confusing, but I'm pretty sure the plus part at the end, the higher that is, the better the grouping. The higher the percent, the better the individual enemy. So let's check this real quick. So
if you had a 2.0 times plus like 500, say, that's going to make imps crazy. Like, you'd actually want to take a couple fights outside of Canaria just to hit those imps because they'd be worth it.
Yeah.
The flip side, you know, I'm thinking now. So we saw the rod in Marsh. We did not see a second incentive item. What if the hint givers half the time give false hints, because that's a flag?
Very true. That is a possibility. I will say I don't think we saw all of the key lock chests yet.
This is true.
I think we only saw that bottom left chest, and partially because Fizzle got wiped before he could get down to the key locks. So I think he's going to go down and check that. And to answer the question that Gregory Puff just brought up in chat, we do not know whose flags these are or whose flags these are. And this is called Weekend at Zen0's because Zenobian is the one who has been overseeing this particular tournament and administrating it.
There's the herb.
Yeah. He's actually racing right now, I believe, over on the Final Fantasy Randomizer Twitch channel. And we probably won't know unless he tells us, or unless the flag crafter themselves happens to be in chat and identifies themselves. But at the moment, we have no idea.
Okay, so we have validated that Marsh Keylocked was an incentive, and that's going to make Chad very sad.
Now, it does seem like we have specific key items in key item locations. So the idea of having a loose incentive item is fairly unlikely at this point. We still don't know if we have something like Power Bonk or Masa or Katana or anything like that as an incentive item. All we can really tell right now is that it appears that main NPCs, fetch quest NPCs are incentivized, and that there's a high possibility that there is one incentive item in a lot of dungeons. But in the way these flags are set up, we have no way of confirming that at all.
So Wilgen saying, did not know that there was an FFR channel. That is a relatively new development. We recently started this Final Fantasy Randomizer Twitch channel, and Danny has posted it into the chat here. And yeah, it's one of our new homes. So looking forward to building the audience there, getting some more shows up on that channel.
One of the new things that we're doing with that particular channel is we have a number of, really any member of the community, if they are broadcasting if they are broadcasting a Final Fantasy Randomizer race, they can post a note in the Discord asking to be put on that particular channel, and we can have just regular community members running regular seeds on that channel on a more regular basis, while also working with our restream partners such as RPG Limit Break for some of these larger races. So it's another opportunity.
That was a ribbon +5 out of the Alpha Arbory, I believe. Just going to throw that out there.
Yes.
Yeah, and with the Final Fantasy Randomizer hosting various folks from the community streaming, I will put in my personal plug. I did a series on the Randomizer channel and my own channel, but who cares about that, right? But I did a series of our upcoming Duckling Derby seeds. Duckling Derby starts tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. So
it's essentially right at the conclusion of this tournament, because the semifinals are tomorrow at 3 p.m. and the finals are, I believe, tomorrow at 6 p.m. So this tournament is today at 3 and 6, as well as tomorrow at 3 and 6 Eastern time, and then the Duck Derby kicks off right after that.
Tier 4, learnable by our red mages. Very nice to see, even if it is level 6 magic. We did get Nuke at Melmond, so that's super cool as well.
Yeah, Melmond's a nice place to find that.
Confused sages, hey!
Confused old men. Actually, this was one of my favorite flags watching when I was first getting into Final Fantasy Randomizer. So it's a nice little kickback. It's a pain in the butt to race with, but as a viewer, it's really exciting to see.
And Fizzle checking here because one of the sages is the hint giver, just telling us the thing we already know, that the loot is for sale in Provoca.
Yeah, and I think that the one thing that is really hurting Chadbert right now is I don't believe he checked the hint giver in Melmond. Sometimes it's hard to remember exactly who is the hint giver, and I believe he skipped that, so he's unaware of the herb to floater progression that's down there in March 2. And I think that's part of the reason he's diving Earth so hard, is that he has a rod, so he can light an orb to get 2 extra shards, but
there was an incentivized ribbon, it looks like, off of Sarda.
Which is
very safe.
Yeah, which is actually very nice to see. I think they used to call that Schrodinger's ribbon back when there were loose items and loose incentivized items, and the ribbon was incentivized. You would open a box, find a ribbon, and not know if that was the incentive one. So at least Fizzle knows that the incentive ribbon has already been checked off, and he can move through different locations at will.
Okay, so here is the moment of truth. Fizzle just got the tail, he's got the floater, he's got the airship. He is headed in the general direction of Cardia. Do we have change class at promotion active? I would be tenting right here. Yep. Gotta be ready to reset if this turns out to be a very bad decision.
Very true, because you might, who knows what you're going to promote into if you have to promote, and who knows if Bahamut actually needs to be fought.
Hey, it looks like.
Yep. The Fight Bahamut flag. I really enjoy this flag. I thought this was a brilliant idea, and am excited to see how this is going to play out, especially with the boss scaling that we've seen. How damaging this Bahamut could be as a barrier to promotion.
Well, free turn with a ruse there when everybody's just casting spells, so that's a positive thing.
Well,
except for the fact that the Blade Mage is swinging 2 ruse.
Oh no! And okay,
it's okay. We got nukes.
Yeah, luckily enough nuke charges, and it looks like
we stayed the same. We
went
like
to
regular
vanilla.
promotions. Okay.
Yeah, which normally I am very, very happy when I have a ninja and I see regular promotions like this. Just because the ninja ends up being incredibly powerful, at least in terms of vanilla classing, with these blur classes, with the chaos mode classes, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what your benefits are from this promotion.
Right. And the one thing that I did make a mental note of is that I believe the White Mage was the one who had black belt scaling for MDef.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're looking at chaos classes, whoever has the +4 MDef on the screen has black belt scaling, and so if they promote, they go to +1 when they promote. Mm-hmm. And so that's a very concerning thing you have to pay attention to when you're looking at your options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Fizzle's really showing off his strategy with behind that X for making sure that he throws out the X for to remove all of the resistances from that war mech to break the war mech into pieces.
Heck
for
yeah.
that looked like 12,000 experience though.
Remember what we said earlier about, hey,
Yeah.
Is this really high flat and really low percent? That makes the war mech grind very unappealing. Cure 3 bonk, it looked like. So that's a thing that exists.
Yeah.
So I think with our moral victory over Warmech, having defeated it once, I don't think Fizzle is going to be fighting it ever again.
Nope.
I think if he's going to take a grind of any sort, it's going to be to go back to Northwest Castle, hang out with some water nagas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he will, though.
Yeah.
Fizzle's not generally the kind of person who does that, because he got to go fast.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Now,
bracelet.
I'm very curious to see what this experience is going to look like because of being a six enemy pack of a pretty decent enemy class. 22,000. Was that 22,000 or
2200?
2200. Okay.
So it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's certainly better than we were getting out of the Agamas and Giants, right? Mm-hmm. Agama Fire Giant or R Giant or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Oof. Blaze coming out of Sea Trolls means that Sea Shrine is going to be a bad time. For sure.
Temple of Fiends D-Floor is a little bit scarier to me yet. Just because you're always watching your resources there, right?
Right. Well, if we have a short. Yep. And it looks like the Fizzle found a little stone treasure trove here in the Cardia Isles as Chadbert takes off fighting some waters. I'm curious what this experience is going to pop out to be.
Good.
4,000.
It was over 4K, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
squeaking through that fight. 8 hit points on BBBB.
Wow. Yeah, I'm so many questions. That's like one of the things with these seeds. It's so many questions about trying to figure out exactly what the flags are, but also recognizing what flags are really just not that important to figure out. So doing things like keeping an eye on experience. Is it better to have, more enemies versus fewer enemies, so on and so forth? Like, again, the eye or the 3-eye tile might actually be a pretty bad trap tile the way that this scaling is set up. So you have to reconfigure your brain in terms of what you see as a good tile and what you see as a fantastic tile.
So here's our first look at Lich.
Well, I think more importantly, our first look at a fiend. Because you can shuffle fiends, you can have alternate fiends. I think the danger in Chadbert's move was not getting through Earth, it was being confident enough that you can kill whatever boss happens to be at the bottom of Earth. Which it looks like is a pretty hefty Lich. Only throwing out fire too, though.
So, it's a little scary when you have to temper up your damage dealer at this stage.
Fortunately, only seeing Hold come out of Lich. 3 hits for 377. Lich 1 only has 400 hit points in the vanilla game, so we're already far surpassing that.
Another swing, Lich goes down. First orb lit.
Around 47 minutes in, which it does not feel like these guys have been running for 47, 48 minutes right now. And in terms of orbs, with a shard hunt, you might think that orbs are not important. In fact, the first time I ran a shard hunt, I would exit out a step in front of the fiends because I didn't think that the fiends were important. But you do actually get shards for each fiend. The earth and fire fiends give you 2. Water and air fiends give you 4. I say it like that because it doesn't matter if you have shuffled fiends or alternate fiends or whatever. Whatever the earth orb is will give you 2 shards. The fire orb will give you 2 shards. The water orb will give you 4, and the sky orb will give you 4, or air orb.
Fizzle, I thought we established that this was a bad idea.
I mean, it was more experience than we've seen. The problem is the time. The amount of time it's going to take for the expert Chadbert's going back to Astos.
50-minute return.
Oh no. Hopefully this one goes better than previous. There we go.
Hey.
And finally picking up that TNT.
It's dynamite.
Oh god. And Fizzle's still throwing out Brax. Oh, you know what? I just realized we've been counting our experience based on that one War Mech encounter where we had 12,000. I don't remember how many Light Warriors were standing when Fizzle... Was it 3? Okay. So that means that if the 4th was up, it'd be more around 9? So 9,000 each for a War Mech as opposed to 3,000 or 4,000 each for that. I mean, we haven't seen the Water Naga fight recently, but some of these higher pack fights are definitely giving a lot more experience in a much, much faster time than those War Mech fights are.
So here's Chadbert about to step into the classic blunder of Zombles with Thunder.
You hate to see it.
He's got Nuke, though.
Yeah. Oof, but the Thunder came out first.
He also had one ribbon. So Demon Frog bringing up a good point about what is our progressive experience, because we don't just have experience as a flat and a percent modifier, we also have progressive as an option. Now, what that could be is based on our shard count. It could be based on our key item count. We don't know.
Right.
We could,
It
in
could also
theory,
be turned off.
yeah, we could have no progressive experience, and that would be a very sad day. I don't pay that much attention to, the counts on experience early on to figure that out in these, but, it's potentially reasonable to figure that out. But, you could be in a setting of, like, plus 20% for every 8 shards, and that would be kind of interesting. I don't know that that's the sort of cruelty that our flag makers would decide to put out there.
Well, I don't know if it's little known fact, but the 20% per 8 shards is actually a misnomer. So when it says 20% per 8 shards, let's do an easier number, 24% per 8 shards. It actually divides that by 8 and gives that percent per individual shard. So it with orbs, it does that substantial jump in one hit. With shards, it does that divided evenly amongst the 8 shards. And so you can, like, there are ways to try to figure out the percent buffs, whether it's key items versus shards and orbs or off. But we, as Saracen was saying, we haven't really been paying close enough attention to clearly identify it yet. But there's a chance we'll be able to get a better look at that in the near future.
So, Fizzle finding the slab that we already knew was in our deals from the Hint Giver, or, quote unquote new. iPosh Gaming asking who's ahead. We're never going to say that there's somebody definitively ahead until we get to the end of a seed, right? Like, you kind of know when somebody's walking into the Temple of Fiends Revisited that they're going to be the one ahead. Now, what I will say is, Fizzle, looking for Brax on our screen currently, has the airship, and Chadbert does not. And that would indicate a substantial lead in many circumstances. There's a bit of an exploration lead. There's, following the
key item
chains.
lead. Yeah.
Yep. So, it's just, it doesn't really matter until you're actually in the Temple of Fiends killing chaos, right? So, iPosh, you have come in for a fantastically difficult to understand first seed of Final Fantasy Randomizer. So, just to go over what we are looking at today, this event is mystery flags. And it's not just a mystery to the runners who have to science their way through these seeds. It is also a mystery to the commentators who are trying to figure this out right along with you, chat. So, we have discovered so many glorious things along the way with our chaos classes, so none of the classes actually match up to what their names are, right? Our red mages are acting like sages. They have full white and black magic from what we could see. Our black mages are able to punch things quite substantially. They have a solid hit bonus. They have great weapon permissions, etc. So these are things that you'd never expect out of the vanilla game, right? We have potentially very high boss scaling across the board. We saw a Lich with roughly double the hit points that we normally expect on a vanilla Lich. We saw Unleashed Warmax, so Warmax just as a random encounter. We have B-side spike tiles. So anytime that we're looking at a spike tile, you step on the spot, you get a random encounter. It is a fixed encounter every time, but these are different formations or different groups of monsters than you'd normally see in vanilla. So there's so much going on here.
Yeah, and like even that, the end goal for this particular match is not, light the 4 orbs to get into the Temple of Fiends Revisited. It is get 32 shards, and shards are hidden inside of treasure chests all throughout the game, and those shards are blocked by an enemy encounter that you have to fight. Not only that, you just notice that Fizzle, first of all, went to a horizontally flipped ice cave to pick up a ruse stick and an A-lit app, where the ruse stick probably overrode the wizard staff or a heal staff, and the axe, which the light axe, has been replaced with that A-lit axe. So there's a lot of different nuances, a lot of different things switched up. And if you love the original Final Fantasy and you love seeing all of these changes and all of the thought and strategy that goes into this, I highly recommend you check out our Discord. Just go to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. There is a link to the Discord there, and hop in. It's a great time to get started. Really, any time's a great time to get started. And we have a regularly growing community here, and we're happy to have any new people that want to see and want to play this game with us.
Devious, that was a heal 3 sword.
I saw that. That was nice.
There was also a monster in a box Bahamut, which is new information for Chadbert right there. That does tell you that fight for your promotion is turned on. So, yeah, like Devious was saying, it's always a great time to join the Randomizer community. We have a very welcoming community that wants everybody to come in and enjoy the fun. And I've said to many people, I think that the Final Fantasy Randomizer is one of the most robust randomizers of literally any game. Mm-hmm. And that says something. You know, when I'm comparing that to ALTTPR, you know, Zelda 3.
There's a lot more options.
for me to say that this is a more robust randomizer, that's a big claim. I think it absolutely is. And, you know, one of the great things about it is you can play it in so many different ways. We have a very active racing community, but there's also folks who just, you know, do their own thing. They have, like, you know, mini groups of friends that they play with, and they play it in a specific format. I know that we had one member of that join the spring tournament that we just completed recently. Mm-hmm. We have folks who come in and do bug hunting in our beta servers, and that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Always love that. So yeah, come hang out. Come check out all the great ways to play.
Fizzle was just getting very confused by the horizontal flip there. I can definitely relate to that one.
Absolutely.
So let's take a look at this run, kind of get a sense of where we're at. Chadbert has the orb advantage. It looks like he's prioritizing the just kind of the standard fiend dungeon locations. Fizzle has the shard and exploration advantage at the moment. He has been really just kind of letting the seed carry him along. And the one thing that has really separated these two runners, I would say more than anything else, is the fact that Fizzle was able to find a hint to tell him where the floater would be, and Chadbert skipped that hint. So the big advantage that we're seeing here is Fizzle's access to the airship, whereas Chadbert is doing a little bit more of a methodical dungeon-to-dungeon full clear.
So, you know, me not paying attention to the experience as much as I ought to, because again, science is what we're doing here. There's no knowledge that we have beyond what we see from the runners. We could have orb-based experience turned on, and that could end up being a substantial differentiator.
I think that's a fantastic point, because if Chad lights these two orbs and, you know, gets 100% experience buff, that is absolutely going to be a significant advantage if Fizzle is just focusing on chest density. And based on chest density, Fizzle's probably going to go... I think he might check Mirage to see if he can get that key item, or he's going to head over to... I think he's going to do a Mirage check. That's my thought.
I think Fizzle is buying houses and he's going to hang out with some water nagas.
That is also a valid plan. And actually,
he stopped very briefly at Northwest, and then he went, wait, hold on, and then he went and bought houses.
Yeah. Did he also buy heal pots? That's
they're not for sale in Canaria.
Oh, really? I was gonna say he remembered the houses, but did he remember the heal pots? And I actually have to take something back from something I said earlier. I'd said that Chadbert or that Fizzle had the shard advantage, but that actually is Chadbert right now, which is interesting. Again, Fizzle has the early airship, he has the exploration, but even with that, Chadbert was still able to pick up more shards. He's one shard ahead at this point, and by the end of this dungeon, he could be upwards of at least 2, but maybe 3 or 4 shards ahead. Yeah, and it looks like one good Ice 3 is able to take out a water. The
flippin' volcano carry floor. It hurts. It hurts so bad. You can see it as soon as you walk into the floor, right? Like, not like you can, because the stairs will be one tile over from where they normally are. But to have to walk over to the side room and walk in that door and then be like, oh, there's no torches around that chest.
Yeah. And especially if you're walking on those lava tiles at the same time. I love, just to point out, Groggy Dog in chat posting some of our emotes from that. I believe they're from the Final Fantasy Randomizer channel we were mentioning earlier. But I believe Groggy put together those emotes, and I am a huge fan of them. Groggy does great work, and he's done a great job putting together a website for new runners. Groggy, you can feel free to put a link down there in chat as well. But hey, I saw him. Say hi, and wanted to say thank you.
All right, so it does not look like Volcano is incentivized, because I believe that the only random location incentive item was that canal in Canaria Locked. Which, what a troll right there. That's fantastic. But we did get another stone, which is a shard, out of the Volcano incentive chest, and here we have Chadbert going up against Carrie.
Yeah, let's do some science as we're going. 600 HP is the base HP for Carry 1. Oh, boy.
We had 2 Invis 2s in the lineup here, so I think perhaps we're a little bit safer than we think. We'll hope.
Yeah, hope is a strong word. Okay,
it is also a 4-letter word, as it turns out. All right, so there's our third Invis 2 cast. Hopefully, that makes us a little bit safer against this, because as Demon Frog points out, that was 11 hits for 550. Oh, that's a big deal.
And he just put out 13 damage with that thief. And I think he even got a couple tempers out first, too.
At least one.
Wow. Oh. That's some insane scaling.
So, Fizzle turned in the bottle that he picked up in the ice cave. The fairy had the cube. So now we have Chime and Cube.
Wow.
How are you feeling about Sky?
I'm just feeling bad for Chadbert right now, because Carrie, over, I want to say 4 or 5 invises at least, just one-shot that thief. and that thief was not able to put out enough damage. Boy, I think
this is a lost dive potentially.
There's a very strong probability, especially with the fact that if he's only got lit 2s to cast, and he's been low rolling these nukes, only get 100 to 150 each time. I don't think that the lit 2s are going to be enough to take this down, especially because Carey probably has around 1,000 to 1,200 at least, based on what we've seen so far.
So, meantime, Looking for Brax has turned in the slab to find out it was the ruby, which, I mean, I guess it's 4 extra chests to check. It's a dead item. I don't think that Fizzle's going to go there. If I'm in Fizzle's shoes, I would much rather go sky, sky, sky. Open your, was it 52 boxes?
Something like that. Yeah.
I counted at one point so I could do the math.
It's on one of my many spreadsheets that I made when I first started running.
The Demon Frog pointing out, though, the Titan's Trove could be incentive. So
that is true. However, let's take a look at our actual incentive items that are left. Fizzle only has, it looks like, the crystal, which we found out the location from a hint, the adamant, and the oxyale. Those are the only 3 things that are left, the oxyale being the only one that's actually required to beat the game. Or actually, it's not even required to beat the game. So I think that the choice to go to chest density is the stronger choice instead of trying to chase down whatever that Titan's item might be.
So Saber Stick, that's an interesting find.
I think that having the Saber Stick and the Ruse Staff, those 2 alone are typically enough to, and the Heal 3 sword. With those 3 items, you can basically solo chaos with those 3 items and the right party member at the right level. But with just those 3 items, that gives you the potential for that. The danger is chaos the final boss? And only time will tell.
So, on that note, so I want to throw up my thought process on that. If we have an alternate fiend setup, the mages tend to be a lot more important, because when you've got Warmech and friends, you've got, 2 Warmechs and 6 evil men? 6 bad men? Something like that? That you need to get a nuke out, right? That's your first order of business, is clean up those 6 targets. If you've got double dragons, you've got Tiamat and Carey, which that's a concern, right? But even then, that's potentially less of a single target encounter. I mean, at this scaling, it's a single target encounter. But that's a concern there. And then we've got was the Lich option, Fun Dead, which is also
it's the opposite of fun. Trust me, it's the opposite of fun.
So, I mean, I look at the alternate fiends as, generally speaking, a time for the mages to shine. Just lots of concerns there. Demon asking, did Fizzle wipe out? And I think the answer is yes. That Warmech was rude, and Fizzle was being stubborn.
Actually, the answer is no. He defeated the Warmech, got 21,000 experience for his 2 red mages, exited out, cast life, housed up, and went back in.
Oh, that's even better. Okay.
Yeah, I think his strat for that was, okay, we know that we can X for Brack, but that takes time. What's his damage at? And I think that confirmed the fact that you can in fact put the Warmech down with DPS. You just need the spells for it.
I follow you here.
Was that an eye joke, or is that just a?
That was not, but we'll call it one.
Cool. I like that.
And that was a very sad eye.
that eye only gave 1,000 experience. Had 150 HP, but only 1,000 experience is very, very low for an eye.
Yeah. Makes me kind of long for the days of giant Germedusa packs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I still go back to that that water Naga tile is just the standout one at the moment.
Right. So Chadbert picking up the bottle here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the place that Chadbert needs to go is Marsh Cave, which is somewhere he already went, but didn't clear. There were, I think, 1 or 2 boxes that he didn't clear, one of which was the item that led to his floater. So his travel time is increased, but he is making a steady path through all of these chests and all of these encounters.
Yeah, it's certainly a heck of a fight for this this progress that he's making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious about levels. I saw Fizzle was in mid-20s. I haven't seen where Chad's been at early 20s on at least BBBBB.
Yeah. And CCCC.
But what about AAAA and BBBB? I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Well, we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, and on the left, you're looking at Warmech's friends, and they be beefy.
So apparently it's evil men for the Warmech and friends, but the bad men.
Okay.
The bad men are real bad this seed.
Well, they're thick, but they're weak. I think I saw like double-digit damage coming out of them after a number of hits. So, for our runner's sake, I hope that's true. So
to be fair, the gear on Fizzle's party is pretty strong. Mm-hmm. He's also quite thick, as it turns out.
Yeah, that's nice to have. I mean, we also saw he picked up an XCal -2, which is a nice pickup. I don't know
if anybody in his party can use it. I think it's still night locked.
Correct. Yeah. So going back to the chaos classes, and that either our white shirt or our black shirt rolled as a fog -2, and our katana rolled -3.
Yeah.
I'd be doing math too, Fizzle. The katana -3 versus the dragon 3. I'm gonna say I think the katana. Yeah. I don't know how that rolls out, honestly.
I'll be honest. Even when I see the numbers, I have to go extremely smooth brain and just say big number good. I don't know breakpoints or anything. I just yeah. I parrot what other people tell me. Yeah. Weapon has big plus, swing big stick.
Yeah.
Maverick Kanisa, indeed. We're here to kill chaos.
Happens to be chaos. We still don't know yet. Ooh, our first Evilman. I was gonna say that's a very important fight. And Fizzle very much thrown off by the horizontal floor again.
Every time the horizontal floors come up, it's a treat. And by a treat, I mean there's part of me that like tries to twist to orient myself properly. It doesn't work right in my brain.
Yeah, it is super. It's as disorienting as it looks. Truthfully. And I think that that Fizzle's starting to reap the benefits of this Sky play, as he's picked up a pretty decent number of shards going through. As you said, it's 50-something treasure chests.
Yeah,
Gives you a
51,
higher
52,
probability.
something like that. It's a big number. And just all of the additional levels from the encounters that he has taken, adding up a little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is the worst walk in the horizontal flip.
This little sky, the Sky 3 maze. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, Sky Maze. Oh,
no.
I'm not
It could be
excited
a
about the
thing.
next floor.
Sun +2. I actually am a huge fan of that sword.
Yep.
That's an endgame weapon. It was a rub +1 shirt.
Yeah, and not even checking to see if it's your black wizard, if your black shirt.
I think the Black Wizard had S armor, so...
Okay. I used to say, I don't know, because I feel like we found an opal in, Cheerio at some point.
Earth Armory was the Opal Cheerio.
Okay.
So Chadbert has it, but not Fizzle.
Gotcha. Yeah, and to go back to the Chaos classes, all of the stats are switched except for the exclusive items. So the Excal is locked to the Knight, the Katana is locked to the Ninja, the Black Shirt is locked to the Black Mage, and the White Shirt is locked to the White Mage, and Black Belts still have their fist scaling.
No, Maze. That teleporter moved.
Yep. Yep. Fizzle is very lucky. Nothing here. I love it. I love it.
Yep.
Oh man, when you have shuffled teleporter, I would have been in so much trouble there because I go left 2 up 2 or up 2 left 2, and it was right 1.5. So I would have lost a significant amount of time in that Sky Maze. Just by the fact of how I walked.
Yeah, I'm an up 2, right 2 kind of person.
Mm-hmm. There's some people is Greg still here? There's some people very, very passionate about their Sky Maze walk. I happen to not be one of them, but if I know one of those people is calming a race, I will go up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. So, take that.
Fuck it, Trebek. Alright, so we're seeing Brack Strats out of Fizzle coming in at Tier 1. This...
Yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna say the thing that I think no one wants to admit, but at the scaling we've seen on these bosses, I guess Fizzle hasn't seen the scaling on the bosses as much. I would have exited, saved, and come back up so I don't have to loot all those chests again.
Oh, Fizzle! That hurts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of shards. Oh, he lost like 6 or 7 shards.
Mm-hmm. And the hardest part when you're talking about Sky is, well, all right, two things. One, Sky is huge. There's 50-some chests, and remembering which ones had the shards.
Mm-hmm.
That's its own challenge. But then, on top of that, you have to refight all of those monsters in a box.
Mm-hmm.
That's so painful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Demon Frog pointing out in chat, you know, is Tiamat even worth it at that point once you've gotten that much progression?
We've started the war.
I would say I love it. Will Bloodworth chiming in, right 2 down 2. I love it.
Well, it's down to business, and Danny with the up 2, right 2.
Oh man, I lost my train of thought, but that was good. Oh right, the shards. So whoever's in Sky, so in this case it is vanilla, so it's Tiamat. You get 4 shards for lighting the Sky orb. Now, depending on how many shards total you need in the shard hunt, is going to impact whether or not those 4 shards are actually worth it. If you're running something like 24 shards, absolutely, cut ties and run at that point. If you're in the 32 to 36 range, I can't remember exactly how many shards are in chests. I want to say it's low 30s. Yeah, I want to say it's low 30s. So there is a point where you essentially have to start killing fiends in order to get all of your shards, unless you want to open literally every single one of the boxes that are in the game.
I think it's either 32 or 36 are in boxes, and then you get 12 off of the fiends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then again, the other issue just ends up being: do you want to open literally every single chest in the game? And given the fact that Tiamat has like a 20-something% rate for Brack to hit, I think I like Saracen's. I like your idea of, it's probably a better play to exit out and then try to go directly to Tia to get those 4 shards, as opposed to chancing having to reopen everything again.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're talking about the spider floor, as I call it, or this. Oh.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we see Chadbert hanging out with some water nagas, which, we've kind of established as a good plan.
Right. Yeah, I like the play. Chadbert has the benefit of having faced a number of fiends already and knowing how beefy they are. So the importance of having a high level character is he's very keyed into that. Whereas Fizzle was Tia his first fiend?
It was.
I think so.
It was.
So he'd have to go off of his Astos and Garland damage, which were arguably high, but you didn't see the damage and hit output like Chadbert did.
Yeah, Fizzle definitely had the easier of the Astos fights, and while Garland was a pain, he was mostly a pain because he had cremate, and you're talking about a level 2 to 5 party at that point. So I think both Chadbert and Fizzle had taken some time to kill a couple imps and whatnot prior. Good safety play. Figure out what's going on here.
Fizzle.
Fizzle, please.
Bold and daring, but I'm also just, he's so lucky he goes right 2 down. He goes right 2 first. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which direction Chadbert walks, just for the audience's sake, not for Chadbert's sake, but for the audience to be able to see how impactful that decision when you take that first step on Sky 4 can be in this type of flag set.
Do you know how mad I would be if I was the one playing this seed? Because I literally didn't know that moving the teleporter was an option. So I do my up to, right to, and I just be like spamming to inspect the floor to show nothing there.
Yeah. I feel like there's been a number of times I've run these where you're like, I know I missed something. Something's supposed to be here and it's not there, and I have no idea what it is. So what now? Though honestly, I think that Move Teleporter is much better than Sky Maze. But Fizzle is on his second attempt at Tiamat, getting wrecked in that first spot. Smart move casting that ruse with that black mage. I really like that decision. That's going to ward off at least some of those big hits as he throws out Brack number 5.
Pieces.
Yep.
Ugh. I mean, do we count the 5 or 6 that from the prior run?
from the previous fight? It depends. I feel like it depends on who you are. Some people that Brack rate's like 1 in 2, others it's 1 in 20, and
we know which one you are.
Yep. I am way up there most of the time. But it looks like Fizzle's probably picked up at least 1 full row, maybe even 2 full rows of shards, which would be 12 shards, just in this one dive. However, he's been losing time on getting wiped, which takes a lot of time. And I think Chadbert is making a good decision with what he knows and what he has to settle down, get a grind in, and then start moving towards your end game as fast as you can. The downside is I don't know how many other locations he has to check, and yeah, he's running out of time.
Yeah, the challenge for Chadbert here is he needs to go back to Marsh, to the key locked area, because I'm gonna guess, just throw this out there for cruelty. I think the only random incentive locations are that grouping of Canaria locked, Marsh locked, Titan's Trove. I think those are the only ones that are randomized.
That's so evil. Just talk about pure evil. I don't know who made this flag set, but I love you and I'm proud of you. Because that absolutely set the stage for it. You get your key incentive items in your first couple dungeons, and that's fantastic. But now you're opening dozens of boxes, and who knows? Now, on the flip side, we did find the white shirt in Sky. One shirt was in Sky. One shirt was in Volcano. Was it?
Volcano or Ordeals? One of the two.
One of the two. Because we did find the second shirt. I want to say I saw it on Chadbert's side.
Yeah, it was like a fog shirt and then a rub shirt.
Mm-hmm.
The fog shirt rolled minus. No Cardia docs, Chadbert. Those don't exist in this version.
Though, I would say fortunately for Chadbert, we do have the what is it? Northern docks are on, but I believe the cube was in Lefane. Mm-hmm. So
no, cube was Ferry.
Ferry. Yep, I see that from Danny's notes. Thank you, Danny. Which means that it's floater locked. So this is a floater locked seed for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And last I checked with Fizzle, he had a row -2 -2. So he had 10 shards left. I think he just picked up 2. So he's down to his last 8 shards, which he could absolutely find. Well, a double Bahamut. Yeah, he might find his go mode by the end of this. And if he doesn't find his go mode by the end of this dungeon,
he can go Earth.
Yeah, he can go Earth. He could go Waterfall too. I just hate Earth that much.
So do I, and I think the community has been pretty set on Earth is the worst place to check for shards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so good. I was very worried that Fizzle was going to skip that sword somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But Earth is just, there's so few chests,
mm-hmm.
Per floor. When there are chests, they're kind of spread out horribly.
Yeah. Though I will give a quick shout out to Caleb, who is our resident Earth Marsh diver, because when you know the meta of the community, if you bet against House, sometimes you win, and he's been one to find a lot of progression inside of early Earths. I don't think we saw that in this seed, but it's definitely one of those moves that has a lot of risk involved to it, but when it pays out, it really pays out.
So, I think I heard Fizzle sigh when he got to the floor on Volcano 3, is it? Where with the patchwork tiles, and he went to the right, and it was the dead end. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, the stop.
Yep. Well, that, like, again, it's the funny thing about the horizontal tiles is you'll walk into a room and you just feel wrong. You don't know what it is. It's just wrong. And that's the only way that you know. Like, yes, you can see the staircase is facing in the other direction. It's one tile closer to the left than to the right. But you've been running this long enough. Sometimes you just walk into a room and you're like, this don't feel right. I'm gonna go left instead of right. And that's really the thing that gets us through some of these flipped rooms here.
So Chadbert making the waterfall play, which I think this is new information for both of us.
Yep. Yeah, I really like this play from Chadbert's perspective because he didn't know if Northern Docks was on, but more importantly, he doesn't have the cube, and he might be able to get into Mirage, but he doesn't have cube access. There's no guarantee of an incentive item in those first two floors of Mirage. This is at least a guaranteed incentive item, and we still have an Oxyale that's on the loose, even from Fizzle. So I could foresee an Adamant here in Waterfall from the robot that then turns into an Oxyale or something along those lines. And you know, the Sea Shrine is the second greatest deposit of treasure chests. So it would definitely be a plus in Chadbert's column.
There's the Oxy.
Yep.
So can we just appreciate real quick that Fizzle got down to Carrie's floor and immediately bolted right. He knew as soon as he got there that this was a flipped floor. I'm also going to throw out my appreciation for the horizontal flip not proc gen waterfall. We can procedurally generate the waterfall, but, you know, and for the fact that Chadbert had warp and exit to just get out, not dealing with the walk back and the flipped waterfall.
I hate the walk back and the flipped waterfall. That, and I'm the one who's dumb enough to have looked at that flipped waterfall and go, hey, this is proc gen, and go the absolute wrong direction. It is... not even... Okay, true confession, it's not just for flipped. When you've been running proc gen waterfall for a very long time, and someone puts it back to vanilla on you,
100%.
the original waterfall is incredibly confusing. As Caleb is one to talk about proc gen waterfall a lot. You go upright. With proc gen, you just go upright, and it's probably there. And of course, in the vanilla waterfall, it's up left, and it's a mess.
Up is the correct direction 100% of the time because the door always has to face south. That's like your one saving grace with proc gen floors in general. And as we're talking about this, and you're getting ready for in an hour and 44 minutes to do your own race.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this. What are you seeing in this flag set that you are thinking are just not going to happen in your seed?
in my seed, I don't. There's a lot of vanilla here.
That was a
There's, like,
TFC crystal, by the way.
Was it really? the triple check. Yeah. Personally, I see a lot of vanilla in this flag set. You know, like vanilla dungeons, vanilla floors, vanilla like tiered magic. You know, I'm expecting anything but vanilla. One of the things that I've been kind of playing around with is some of these crazy new flags that we have, like no overworld in deep dungeon. I am expecting something very anti-vanilla, but that probably means I'm going to get like a vanilla-ish flag set and just be completely thrown off guard.
I mean, I was saying before we started here that if somebody just submitted improved vanilla as a mystery seed, oh, I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad. Vanilla it's been said, vanilla is the worst Final Fantasy randomizer seed that you can possibly get, right? Because everything is literally as far away from everything else as you can possibly get. All the spells are the worst potential spells you could have. Like, the White Mage doesn't even do anything until it has 6th level magic, practically. You know?
Yeah.
I did an improved vanilla seed like a couple months back, just to try it out, right? It was over 4 hours.
It's a long run.
Handle it. I can't handle that.
What, you don't like a mandatory double dive of Earth? Like, as you walk from
Warp
Earth
and no exit? Yeah.
over to Sarda, then all the way back to Earth. So then it is a it is a long run. And as you said, just the way that the magic works out, you get some advantages with like the early ruse, but for the most part, your DPS is just bad.
I mean, I went fighter black belt white black or something like that, and I hit a pop grind until like 32. Like, I'm punching my way through this seed if it likes it or not, you know. All right, so mermaids, fully explored by Chadbert.
Didn't seem to have like a massive treasure trove of shards. Unfortunately for him, I think that's what was in the Sky Palace. Fizzle's getting rocked by trance blue dragons, which is always going to be a bad time. But I'm looking here now. He's only got 3 shards left before he makes his way down into the Temple of Fiends Revisited. And he's guaranteed to get 2 from Lich. I would anticipate that when you see Fizzle fight his next monster in a box, he's just gonna beeline directly to Lich. That is, if he can get through these these trance wolves. Yo, if you're gonna have a rager, like, yo, do it in Earth Cave. You know, hang some of them disco balls. It's already got the vampire theme to it. You got bats everywhere. It's the place to be.
Chadbert working his way towards the Kraken floor. Man, my brain is broken looking at this horizontal flip.
Yeah.
It's just because it's been so consistently horizontally flipped, except for mermaids.
Right. Well, it's actually it's the Sharknado floor for me. Where if I step on Sharknado and it's flipped, I'm gonna have a bad time. And there's a bad time. Yeah, that TFC floor is bad too, but I feel like with Sharknado, it's even worse. And that lock helm is actually a very nice pickup. Especially for, like, we're not seeing black belts on the seed, but especially if you're trying to do DPS, like we have that, we have Ruse, we have Saber, we have Heal 3, this is kind of that fourth piece, which is lock to ensure that your swings actually hit. And there's not much worse than having 4 hits with a max evade boss, and you hit 1 time every 3 turns. And that lock helm is really going to prevent that from happening.
Demon Frog pointing out that's if lock is guaranteed accuracy.
Good point. Good point. Well, I mean, you go vanilla and lock never hit, so at least hopefully it's going to hit at least some of the time. But you're right.
Vanilla, lock hit you. It's not that you hit lock. Earth TFC does not provide. The Asher Trunk does not provide anything useful because it was Opal Armor, and I'm pretty sure that's still locked.
Yeah,
No, he's going back for it anyway. Oh, I was not aware.
Yeah,
that is not night locked.
Yeah, someone's got that S. I think Dragon Armor and Aegis Shield, I think, are night locked, but Opals are S locked. I think. Hey, ribbon number 3. I don't.
Exciting time.
Yeah, I don't really care what flag set you're running. There's 2 chests that you can check in Earth, and it's okay. That chest right there, which is a great chest because you also get to check your trap tile, like the out of the way trap tile in Earth 1. You also get a chest, and then the vampire chest. The number of times you'll find a ribbon or some like very strong endgame item, this is total confirmation bias, but you're gonna find something there.
See, I always say that the Asher Trunk pays off. It might only pay off 1,500 gold, but this seed it paid out an Opal Armor +3 or something like that. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good payout.
Oof! And lucky for Fizzle, he looked left before he went right, and he found a Cure 3 gauntlet before
Danny Spiders. Danny Spiders. Danny, you promise you didn't roll this seed.
It is a Danny classic right there to have.
There's enough ribbons that Bane doesn't count for anything.
Yeah, it's true. Ooh, Fizzle's still checking boxes. I don't know what I mean, okay, that that Opal Cheerio's good. I mean, that's a vendor sword at the moment because we already have a katana. Classic Gamer pointing out, Danny's been training others.
That's true. I seem to recall ale seeds have become remarkably toxic.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a point in spring tournament when we were rolling seeds in the chat rooms where people would start asking for Danny seeds because at least it wasn't one of mine or one of Ale's, and it was like, oh my, that torch has been passed apparently. All right, so we do have a Kraken on the right side. This is our first look, and Kraken did not one-shot that thief. So either that thief
That's encouraging.
Yes. It's either the thief is super tanky or the scaling does have a much wider range than we were afraid it would. Danny's Deadly Seed Rolling School has produced a very good seed rollers.
You've planted a good crop, Danny.
I feel like we need to have badges or something. When we graduate, we have the Danny's Deadly Seed Rolling School. We have the Center for Competitive Forfeiting. Wonderful.
Is it ale with the airship landing?
Ale's avionics. Oh god! All right, here we go. We're gonna take a look.
We're gonna see.
Short topher, a long topher.
This is a regular topher.
Fail. Oh, demon.
On Chadbert's side, we're seeing the danger.
Did I just see 1 hit HP coming from
DDDD? Yeah.
Yeah, lock's a good idea. That's the benefit of that lock helm. And this is where you're praying. You're praying to RNGesus, hoping that that this Brack is going to land.
I have, I think, an idea for that horrible thing that we've been talking about for years of what do we do about scaling MDEF? Because currently, it doesn't matter what your percentages are, MDEF doesn't scale. What if we just made lock also affect MDEF, but then put it on the scaling for the monsters?
You just said a lot of words that I don't know if I can handle and process those words at this particular moment.
I understand.
So I'm gonna let you for those of you who are FFR devs in the chat, please feel free to engage in this conversation. I'll just take a step back for a little bit.
I'm just thinking that lock helm suddenly makes me, more inclined to lock things because nobody uses lock right now outside of boss fights.
That is true.
Fizzle is making good progress through the Temple of Fiends, already up to Lich 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we haven't
willing
really
to commit resources to it even.
We haven't even talked about the fact that we have encounter tables and step tables and all of those other things that we normally talk about. It looked like around 11 to 1200 HP right there on that Lich. And unfortunately, I think Chadbert's about to get disappointed that this is not the airship. He's probably excited to get that adamant, and then he'll get very disappointed when that adamant turns into... What will it turn into? Yeah, it's probably going to be some sort of weapon.
I mean, who knows what incentivized item has been placed there, but it is not a progression item.
Yeah. It might give us a little bit of a window into who rolled the seed, depending on what item shows up there. I don't know if Thorhammer is still on the list, but Thorhammer.
Thorhammer is one of the items in the.
Is it still on the list? Yeah.
Yep.
That would be a troll and a half if this is Thorhammer.
Vorpal minus
Vorpal
2.
minus 2.
I already hate my life that much more for seeing that. I don't know why you picked it up. I literally don't know why you would pick that up. It's like one of the worst weapons we've seen of the endgame weapons. Fizzle wiping up to carry 2.
Yeah.
Carry 2, sleeper scary fight in Temple of Fiends Revisited. Like, so many people talk about scary Kraken 2, scary Tia 2 to some degree. Like, I mean, that's like a lower tier than Kraken 2, right? Carry 2 is nasty.
Yeah, Carry 2 can be incredibly nasty. And now, okay, this is the experience part. If I'm Fizzle, this hasn't been an insanely difficult seed. It like, yes, it's had its troubles. It's opened a lot of boxes, which is why our time's a little bit higher. It's not insanely difficult. I'm sweating. I just got wiped by Carry 2. My levels have been pretty strong. Do I just try to throw myself again against Carry 2, or do I try to go back and pick up some levels on those that Water Naga tile? This is the part where it's the difficult question. This is where you look at it and say there's no such thing as the one way to approach Topher. And I'm not exactly sure what the right answer is going to be here. We'll have to see what adjustments he makes going into this second Carry 2 fight.
Yeah, I certainly agree on that front. Sitting here in the booth, we have relatively perfect information. Like we can see both runners, we know where they've gone. As long as we can actually see the menus before they go away, we can see, their actual progress, right? Like Chad, okay. He's got a decent number of shards he needs to get still. So like Fizzle from our perspective is relatively safe. Fizzle from Fizzle's perspective is thinking like, oh man, I took that Tia 1 wipe. What does that mean for my time?
Right.
I just wiped a carry 2. What does that mean for my time?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's definitely a tough choice to make. Sofnum, yes, there is another race coming up in just over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's... Actually, it's 2 races. My esteemed co-commentator, Devious RNG, is one of the competitors in one of the 6 p.m. Eastern races.
Nice. I like you. Yeah, so I do not know exactly what which of our platforms those are being streamed on. Danny would have a better idea. But we currently have one running right now, and there's another one running on the Final Fantasy Randomizer Twitch channel. And we have 2 races today at 6. There are the semifinals tomorrow at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. The finals are at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And then round 1 of our Duckling Derby is on, I believe it's 9 o'clock on Sunday night, Eastern Time. Ooh, it's right here on RPG Limit Break. Cool.
You don't even have to walk that far.
No, I don't. It's the same office. I just, you know, I already got my little butt print in my chair here. Oh, we are back on carry 2. Looks like same strats, speed and power, classic Fizzle right here. Nuclear coming out, doing a decent amount of damage across the board, making the decision, doing heals as well as nukes. So it's definitely a focus on get the damage out, but try not to die too quickly. Focusing on magic as opposed to melee, which I think is a good call considering those nukes are non-elemental, so it carries MDEF, carries resistances aren't really going to impact the spell damage as much as it's going to impact the melee damage.
Okay, we need to pause on our thoughts about carry 2. So Chadbert just got the bad news that the incentive item of Sky, whatever it happens to be, was not within his reach. We're now making a Volcano play. Volcano had a decent number of shards. But if you're sitting in Chadbert's shoes, what do you think about this whole floater situation? Since he did specifically go to check if there was the Lefane dock added. I say this, Fizzle has wiped out and is on his way back.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm focused on Fizzle at the moment. That was wipe number 3. Wipe number 2.
Demon Frog, yes, Fast was picked up by Fizzle. I did see that.
Yeah, I don't think I would do this dive. With what we've seen from the Fiend so far, if carry 2 is this bad, there's no guarantee that any of the other Fiend refights are going to be any easier. And there's always the potential for the Double Dragon alternate Fiend battle, which is a carry 2 plus a Tia 2. I feel like you got to get levels. I feel like this is a point where get levels, get more spell casts, get your HP up, and kind of bite the bullet.
MDF, HP, and hit. All 3 of them go up with levels. I'm 100% there. And, you know, the other thing is, if we think about Fizzle's position, no matter what the progressive scaling option is, he's ahead right now. He's got 3 orbs, he's got more key items, he's got all of his shards. It doesn't matter what it is, he's getting the best value out of it. You know, the reasonable question that comes up here, and I say reasonable sort of with air quotes, is currently Chadbert is 6 shards shy. He might actually be able to pick those up in here.
I want to say there's only 4 or 5 total, because we were talking about the same thing with Fizzle, but I don't know.
It's tough to know.
Yeah. I want to say there's maybe 1 or 2 more on Agama floor, and then there's the 2 from Carrie herself. Man, Fizzle went right back in. Very similar strats here, except the triple cast or fast temper saber. Oof! One punching the first sage. I mean, I don't know why Fizzle hasn't put that black mage into slot 2 or 3. There goes the 2 sages. Oh my goodness.
Just reset, man.
Yep.
Right,
and
that's 3 wipes. We're out. We're going.
level time. It's level time.
Yep. All right. And this is exactly the right call, I think.
Mhm.
There are so few problems in this game that aren't solved by levels.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem that isn't solved is the amount of time it takes to get those levels versus where your opponent's at in the seed.
Right. And I this is the correct tile. This is the correct. Everything's right about this. I'm a little concerned with Chadbert at the moment. He's already walked Agama floor, and
it was so long
wondering
ago he forgot where all the chests were.
Yeah, I think there's one more in this middle floor or this middle room. No, it's either this room or the top right room, and I think that's it. I think there's one here, and then there's the 2 from Carrie herself, and that leaves him with 2 other that he needs to go pick up.
Yeah.
What's available to him?
You've asked the right question. So, he has cleared the Dwarf Armory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he did Elf Armory, which I don't think that had any shards, but it had a ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
He has Temple of Fiends locked, which is 3 chests. He full cleared ice. He has, humorously, the herb into floater left in marsh. He full cleared earth. He does not have access to titans. He has full cleared waterfall. He has seen everything in Sea Shrine, even if he didn't kill Kraken.
Mm-hmm.
I think his options
Mm-hmm.
are dwindling before his eyes.
Yeah.
That's the real problem, right?
Yeah. Well, and then the other real problem, which is, sorry, I was to be honest, distracted. We have Crab Cakes, also known as CC here in chat as well. Former spring tournament champion, asking about Hold and Confuse, which are both much more effective on carry than any of our other themes, which is a legitimate strategy for getting a couple extra rounds out of that carry 2 fight. Which
there's a level 1 Confuse.
Yeah, and I think is Fizzle going back to buy it? No, just Lock 2.
He's gonna buy Lock 2, which
yeah. Yeah, same level of tempers. I mean, I feel like it is one of those, like, there's the risky plays that could work, and then there's the time investment of levels, which will work to a point. And it looks like Fizzle believes that he's on that cusp of being able to just, once I get through carry 2, then everything else is going to be okay. And I think he's feeling that Chad's right on his heels, and the less time he spends with levels, the more times he bounces out of this Topher, the closer Chad ends up getting. And after this carry fight, Chad only has 2 more shards to go. And, we have those last couple of checks in Marsh. I don't know if we've checked the Toph locked, those early March, those Mirage floors.
He did Mirage.
He did do the Mirage ones?
Yeah, he was able to get up until the Cube lock, but because Cube is at the ferry,
right,
he has no access to the upper half.
Well, and I remember there were a pretty decent number of shards in Cardia Isles. So
doesn't have access to that until he goes to Locked Marsh.
Right. So, I mean, this might be a hope and a prayer in the Toph lock chests, but it's really a matter of does Chad remember that there's 2 Marsh locked boxes that he hasn't opened yet, and one of those is his floater.
So, just to retread old ground here, we're back at Lich 2 for run through number 4. And just with the scaling, I like, to just make sure that this is out there as much as possible. We're spending resources on Lich 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Right.
And I'm very hesitant about that because the resources you spend on Lich 2 are resources you don't have for Kraken 2, which we haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
Tia 2, Chaos, / whatever is there. So we don't know what our final fiend is yet.
Yeah.
Our final fight. The big boss.
I'm just realizing now too that black mage, I mean, he might be able to wear armor and he might have good hit, but he doesn't have the HP. I mean, he does not have the typical amount of HP that you'd expect from your damage dealer. And that just, again, it's just, how do we get the DPS out? It looks like we're switching over to Invis, Ruse, Saber strats. But then the problem is what if the other two, if the 2 red mages go down, then what do you have to revive your party members? And I don't think that black mage has. I don't think that black mage has life.
I think you're correct. Black mage doesn't have life anymore, at least.
Yeah, the spell or the physical representation of the soul. Man. Yeah, this talk about a gatekeeper. Alright, cure 4. Double cure 4.
I understand the logic, but
gets the miss from those all those invises. Another miss. We know that Carrie 2 does have a nuke somewhere in her spell list, and it's pretty early. 360 still up. Another 150 still up. I mean, we are well over double the HP of the standard Carrie 2, and she is still just tanking everything. There's a nuclear. Nuke coming out again. And there it finally goes down. Jeez. That was well over 3, maybe 4 times Carry 2's standard hit point number. And now it's, as you said, resources. We're down to 60 heal pots. We'll be in the 30s or 40s after this. Then we have Kraken 2, which we have no idea. Kraken 2 could be significantly easier than Carry 2. Kraken 2 could do what Kraken 2 does and just kill everybody very, very quickly and swiftly. We'll have to see what Fizzle faces down here and then what adjustments he makes. As Chadbert as our restreamer has renamed him, is looking for those last 2 shards.
Yeah, this is that dangerous part for Chad of trying to figure out, where can I still go?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is back to a boat.
Yeah. Oof. Just speed and power strats coming out of Fizzle. Saber, temper fast.
It'd be really funny. You mentioned the possibility of the seed roller having put, some hacked stats into this because the ROM was distributed, not the flag set. What if the seed roller just gave Kraken pillow hands?
That would be amazing. If Carry 2 was the absolute hardest part of this match, that would be wow. 2 lit 2s coming out of Kraken 2. There was 1,000 damage from that last swing. We're already over Kraken 2's vanilla hit points. Switching over to Lock 2, which is a good choice. Make sure you get those hits. Another 1,500.
Nope. This is definitely the sock full of pennies in each of those tentacles.
You want to see 1,500 damage? I'll show you 1,500 damage. God.
He made it.
He made it. And guess what Chad found? A massive +4.
Oh.
10 steps away from the entrance to Temple of Fiends.
Can I just say how bad this feels? Because I'm pretty sure Bicky had the key. We could have that sword an hour and 45 minutes ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know what chest I'm checking when I get key in my run.
What an absolute mad Chad we've got here.
Yeah, well, and a mad Fizzle we have because he's crazy. Doing Fizzle strats at speed and power. Though I did see a ruse come out, so it looks like there is going to be an emphasis on trying to keep that Black Mage alive if T is going to keep throwing out spells. There's that first ruse, Lock 2, which is going to make sure that those swings actually hit. Oh, and that Black Mage goes down, which is the primary damage dealer. I don't know how Fizzle's going to pivot. Oh, straight to Brack.
If he hits it, he's a hero.
Oh, absolutely. If he hits it, he's a hero. I mean, he's a hero in all of our hearts regardless. But Brack hits, you become legend.
There was that one race in pods with the Bane to Bane to Bane. That was really the hearts and minds right there. Because Carry 2, Kraken 2, and Tia 2 falling to Banes is pretty impressive. That's a yikes on that wipe. Now, so here's the problem that I see, right? You've got Fizzle going in for attempt number 5. He has made some adjustments, but he's now under the new confidence of Carry 2 is beatable. That's scary to me.
Yeah.
That tells me he's going to ram his face into this until he goes through, right? Because he was, at this point, so close.
Right.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, we don't actually know what our final boss is going to look like. I mean, you could very well turn that corner and find Warmech and friends, and man,
double dragons. That's the scary one.
Or double
right
dragons. Now. Yeah. I mean, really, anything is scary for right now.
Chad finally getting his herb. He's gonna get his skyboat soon, and he. There's concentration checks.
Yep.
He's gonna check the chest in the next room because it could be a shard.
Right. I mean, as long as he beelines it for Cardia, he's going to find his last shard. You already did that one.
Just warp, buddy.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Well, again, I mean, with two of these left, then with 2 shards left, I mean, I understand it, but yeah, he's gotta just run to that airship.
So he's gonna run to Marsh Attic, and
Yeah.
he's gonna find, I think, a whole lot of nothing up there.
I'm pretty sure there would be at most 1, but I don't think he's gonna find 2.
Fizzle going Exfer and Brack.
I think he's trying to save some of those tempers and fasts for Tia 2 and for some of the late game.
So the Exfer landed.
Mm-hmm.
We're
now
good there.
Yeah. Now it's gonna Brack land.
Yeah. On Senorita MDef herself.
Mm-hmm. And I think, okay, so it's down to this last sage. 29 hit points.
Oh.
Oh no.
I told you.
Mm-hmm. Oh no.
So Blocky Games Studio asking, why not just temper? Well, so the boss scaling in this particular seed, we have discovered over time, as this is Zen0's exciting mystery secret seed weekend, this event is science the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
Buffing up, tempering up, fasting up, it's all well and good, but the bosses have probably a floor of 200% hit points, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're looking at 200 to 350, something like that. 200 to 300, I don't know.
Somewhere around that.
Somewhere in there. However, the boss stats are also stacked. And so we're looking at Carry 2 being able to one-shot basically anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's sort of the challenge here. And so you're looking at pumping a ton of resources into tempers and fast and locks. We have a lock helmet, that helps, but you know, all of that plus the invis 2s so that we can actually live through the encounter. It's so many resources, so much time.
Mm-hmm.
And Carry 2 also has nuclear and nuke.
Right.
This is a real scary fight.
Mm-hmm.
That is the gatekeeper of this Topher, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think that Carry 2 has the absorb, has the damage, has, you know, all of the worst things, and I do think that Fizzle, you know, just had some devious RNG, and against that Tia 2, which one shot that black mage, but man,
dark mode. I hate.
I hate to man, I hate knowing that Massa +4 is essentially right next to him, and yeah.
Okay, so Chadbert throwing away the lock helmet. I get it, you know, you want the ribbon, but I guess he has a fighter, so he wants to keep the dragon. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like there are other things you throw away besides the lock helm in this case. Well, see, at this point, like, Chad, you don't need anything else, buddy. Just go to Cardia. Let's just beeline it over to Cardia. There's plenty of treasure chests up there. No, stop wiggling. Stop wiggling.
No, the wiggle bad.
Yeah, he's right. Okay.
Okay. All right. He landed well enough.
We'll promote. That's fine.
Get ready for that known Bahamut fight.
Yeah. So Fizzle's back at our next Carry 2 fight, and let's see what we're doing. We still have that black mage up in first slot. speed and power strats going for sabers and locks as well as nukes. 300 there. That puts us up to 500, around 850. Ooh, throwing tempers out. Okay, so it looks like he's got his invis up quite a bit. Another 500. Okay, so we probably have another 1, maybe 2 rounds here, and then we'll be able to move on. There we go.
Hey.
There we go. Yes, CC, he does have the ruse and saber stick. Well, actually, you know what? I think he has the ruse stick. I don't know about the saber stick.
I think saber stick was in.
I think that was in Sky, but he has a massive +4. Granted, the saber stick is I don't want to say it's more useful. It could be a clutch item, a very key item here. As Fizzle's already made his way back up here to Kraken 2. Still going with the classic speed and power strats with sabers, tempers, and a fast. We have fight, lock 2, trying to make sure that those swings actually hit. And we'll see what Kraken 2 decides. Lit 2, which we did see last time, that Kraken 2 spell list is a bunch of lits and I think ice, maybe.
Don't worry, that he'll punch for 2,000.
Don't jinx it, Saracen. We're trying to think positive thoughts here. 660 damage, more lock 2s. I feel like we've locked maybe enough. I haven't looked at the hit count specifically, but I think yes, Chad just hit go mode, and there's a lot of damage from Kraken 2, reminding us that Kraken 2 is still Kraken and will take you down. Fire 3 is a good thing to see.
Casting fast on himself.
Fire nuke. Okay, come on. Fire 3.
Fire 3 is
okay.
a free turn.
We're good with that. There we go.
Whew.
Whew.
Chadbert, meanwhile, he is done with this scaling.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna get levels. He has not even made his first dive into the Temple of Fiends Revisited, and he already knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that ninja's at level 29 for Fizzle. I've seen Chad's got low 30s. We're starting those Invis 2s. Notice how many casts we have here, though. 3 and 4 Invis 2 casts left on those sages. So we're again, it's the resources.
And it shares a slot with Cure 4, if I recall.
Yep. Yes, it does. And so I think that Invis 2 came out of that Black Mage. Yep, it did.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this will be set 6. So we're almost at evade cap. And now we're transitioning over to starting to buff that Black Mage.
So he's at 6 on the ninja, or 7 on the ninja. Not that matters, but and then 5 on everyone else because he used the last sage to cast fast.
Yeah, I feel like now it's. Ooh, did that miss?
I did not catch it.
Yep. Now it's lock time, and now it's. This is where all of those lock casts begin to pay off. I mean, you might cast a saber or 2 in the meantime if you're not getting hits, but 5 for 460 is nice. We're looking for between 2,000 and 3,500 on this Tia. So every little bit of damage is going to help. Lit 2 is a nice thing to see, especially with all of these ribbons. We've got 9 hits for only 202 that time. And this is where that crit rate is going to start coming through. And that's why that Vorpal You know, as much as it's not anybody's favorite, that's where the crit rate really comes in when you can throw these tempers out, and now you can do your 9 hits and get the crits that you need to do massive damage. 9 hits for 556.
Demon Frog pointing out that the lock is guaranteed, so that's good. Will Bloodworth, 100%.
Yes.
That pawn shop meme is coming into play here.
Absolutely. Now we're starting to switch to some of that damage and healing coming out of those red mages. Chad still, it looks like he's satisfied with his grind. This might be Fizzle's last chance to actually take this dungeon. With Chad having the higher levels, with Chad having the Massa +4, there's a strong... Chad is much, much more prepared for this Temple of Fiends than Fizzle is. And with that, Tia goes down. We're at level 31 on Fizzle's party, where I believe Chad's up in the mid-30s. And we have no idea what we're going to see here for our final boss fight. Could it be Chaos? It could, but there's about a half dozen other options for what can it be. If I'm Fizzle, I am praying this is Vanilla Chaos. If this is Vanilla Chaos, I have a pathway to victory. If this is anything but, I am terrified. And we do have a Vanilla Chaos. That is absolutely the best news.
Opening with the Blaze. That's great. I do want to just toss this out to chat. Normally, if you were watching the spring tournament, everybody was on a 10-minute delay, and the commentators would have a good view into what was happening because we have the race room open, and we'd see when somebody was done 10 minutes before it was on stream. Mm-hmm. There is no delay here. We're in the dark. So
we are where you are, and we're seeing, I think,
all the
proper
science.
Safety. Yeah, we're seeing very proper safety here. Throwing those last couple Invis 2s that he's been saving this entire dungeon. Here comes that heal 3+3 sword. Now we're switching over to those locks. I'd be throwing a couple more sabers out, just to make sure that I can hit. Maybe transition those red mages over to locks instead of sabers. And we're going to see what this first hit's going to do to Chaos. Chaos is probably going to have between 4,000 and probably 8,000 experience is what we'll be looking, or hit points. And there's no telling what we're going to see coming out of this Chaos. And there is, if this is, our standard randomized spell lists, there is a Cure 4 in the pool that we have not seen yet. And we have no idea where it's going to show up.
I want to just say, though, you corrected yourself to say hit points and not experience, but every hit point is an experience here.
Yes, absolutely. We have Ink, which is another good skill to see. 5 hits for 291, though. With the amount of tempers and sabers that we've seen go out, that is an insane amount of absorb. And fortunately for Fizzle, already having max evade on most of his characters means that Chaos is not putting out much damage. We're only at about, maybe 1,500 hit points of damage so far. We're out of lock 2s with Sage 2, and 3 hits for another 500. This might be a slow and steady wins the race. The Inferno's not the worst thing in the world. Just keep spamming that heal 3 sword.
So Seedcrafter Zeno here, outing himself as the person who made these flags, said that the Massa +4 was supposed to carry the seed. to which I say, sure. The heal 3 sword is about to carry the seed the rest of the way for Fizzle. Mm-hmm. Because realistically, once you've got your characters at evade cap, now let's be fair to the situation. A max roll nuke can still kill 3 out of 4 Warriors of Light.
Stop jinxing things, Saracen. There are curses for a reason.
I say it so I don't say something kind, and then the evil comes to pass.
Well, I mean, now we're seeing the impact of those levels and that Massa plus 4, which Chad found around the 2-hour mark. Still making slow progress here through this chaos fight, trying to figure out what spells to cast. That's 4 hits for almost 1,000 damage again. We've got to be close to that 5,000-6,000 mark. And there we have it, terminated. Whew! Looking for Brax, taking the win over Chadbert. GG's. Wow, what a race. And we are still going to keep Chad going here, and definitely following that progress and seeing the difference that this Massa plus 4 sword is going to have. And hopefully we'll get Fizzle in here to have a little chat in a couple minutes after he's calmed down a bit, gotten a chance to breathe. But we're seeing some very safe strats here coming out of Chad on this Kraken 2 fight. And really the hope is that he has enough resources getting to the end.
So seeing the spooky mist come out, never a good sign.
Very true. And that's
seeing the spooky second mist come out, never a good sign.
Yeah, especially when you just sold your lock helm.
We are joined in the booth by our good friend looking for Brax. Congratulations, GG.
Hello.
That was much less of a scream than I was expecting over this seed.
So, like, a lot of it wasn't bad until you get to the end. Like, at the end, it's just like, all right, I've got a nothing party. What do I do with this Topher? Like, so at this point, it's like, okay, so like, Lich is Lich. So like, whatever, we can microwave it. And then Carrie is just like, every time I set up for melee strats, she digs into the spell list and I get nuclear nuked. And every time I go for speed and power, I get melee to death. It's just like, just pick one. Just pick a lane. Just be one. Just be one or the other.
So it seemed like DPS was a big issue. How much was the Massa going through your mind during that run and just like wishing you had it?
So I see chat and I heard this question. All right, let me hear it. Where was it?
Locked.
Topher locked.
Oh my god. Do I think that would have helped? Not necessarily, because like I had no problem with damage output. Damage output was perfectly fine. It was not getting meleeed in the face that was the problem.
Right. Well, and I think you were very strong with your lock casts, which at the moment we're seeing Chad struggling here on this Kraken 2 for I think the sole reason not throwing out locks, making the unfortunate decision to sell his lock helm before picking up his ribbon from Sarda. But that's absolutely the difference maker here in this fight. And I think what got you through a lot of that end game was like trying to balance your speed and power versus slow and steady, and just kind of finding that perfect concoction mixed with appropriate RNG that rolls in your favor. And then once you hit chaos, it was like, it's not even hold A and pray. It's like, swing. What other spells do I have?
Yeah, I was definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel on the chaos fight, but it's like I had to meter out my spell usage throughout that entire Topher dive, because like I only have so many nukes, and the solution was like, well, maybe I just like nuke blast down Carrie and Kraken so I don't have to deal with melee, and then Tia seems to like melee, so we use all our evasion there, and I guess we use our evasion for Carrie because what? And then we barely have enough evasion for chaos, I guess, and then it's like, all right, so I'm out of nukes, I'm kind of low on tempers. I'm casting the last of my locks. Is there anything to do?
Mhm.
At
Yeah.
least you had the heal 3 sword to pull you through. I know
thing
that
was clutch.
Yeah.
that was the find of the seed to me.
Mhm.
Liz, you were going through, because what was that? Your 5th dive, 6th dive, something like that, for your Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Something like that.
Did you have thoughts about picking up more levels on that Water Naga tile, or were you thinking it was enough resources?
So I went there and I started getting levels, and as I was getting levels, I was trying to come up with a target in mind. And as I was trying to do that math, I just kept coming up with like a 404 error because, like, yeah, spell charges would be great, but like these levels are not going to get me notable amounts of damage. These levels are not going to get me notable amounts of health. I could spend half an hour on that tile, and instead of being meleeed down in one hit, I would be meleeed down in one hit. So like that was what I had to go with.
Yeah. I'm actually going to have to step away and leave you two to your discussion so I can prep for my run. But definitely GG's Fizzle and GG's to Chad. Great showcase for our first run. I'm going to go do some prep, and I'll see y'all in a half an hour.
Bye.
See you, Devious. Thank you for the co-coms. So, Fizzle, I do want to get your opinion as far as the sciencing of the seed. All of the different elements of discovery that you have to go through. What was the most interesting and what was the most frustrating for you?
Interesting has to be based on the backdrop. So my like 2 seconds in, I check Canaria Castle. This is a check to see if like we have some kind of like entrance shuffling going on, and I see that the entrance background is different, but I could not detect anything that was actually shuffled. That was kind of interesting, and that was bothering me for the longest time. Most frustrating. Chaos classes is one of those things that it hands you a whole bunch of stats at once to try and like figure out, memorize everything, and is just too much. It's too much. You probably saw me like trying to equip stuff constantly throughout the run because like I forgot, who had what ratings for what the particular letters mean.
Right.
The only thing that seemed to go right is like, hey, I got 2 stages. Like, all right, cool. And I got my thief that I brought to check for thief lockpicking, but worst case scenario, he's got black magic, and then I've got the best melee I saw there was the black mage, I guess. But even then, it's just like, eh.
Yeah, and I mean that was I think there was enough of a teaser with that when we were informed that there was a special rule that you couldn't start looking at the party select screen until the timer started. That to me said immediately, oh, we're on chaos classes, and Zen0 doesn't want us to know.
Essentially, yeah.
The cake boss channeled here by Chadbert just took out Lich 2 with cake on what I think is the 2nd dive for him.
What level is Quake? Had to be something high. Oh, does he have it on an item?
It looks like it was level 7 in on-rack.
Oh. Yeah, I got all the level... Oh, wait a minute. If that's level 7 on-rack, that means he's doing without fast or life or exit. I wonder which one he dropped.
So that's a great question. The answer is he didn't get the airship until about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, always check the hint NPCs.
So let me tell you, this is part of that sciencing, right? I don't know if he checked the NPC and forgot or what, but one of the questions that we had as we were going through is, do the hint NPCs lie?
No.
And because I seem to recall that being a flag, like an option is for them to lie to you.
It's not necessarily that they lie, it's that they give you garbage hints. They give you hints like press A to talk to NPCs, or like first to terminate chaos wins, or just stuff along that line.
Okay.
I do not recall there being a flag where NPCs lied. These sure didn't.
So he found the rod, and then this is, I think, the key point. He went to the locked incentive chest that's vanilla, but I'm pretty sure that marsh locked was random because it was in the far right box on the flipped floor, which means it would have been the vanilla far left.
Right.
So, and the only hint I saw to that was, I believe, that Canaria Castle locked was also random, because that one, I believe, was in far right of the right room.
It was.
So you'll appreciate this too. The incentive in C was TFC. Just, because.
What was in there?
Crystal to adamant to Vorpal -2. Huzzah!
Yeah, I did the math, and at some point I realized that I was I was technically Cubanoxiel away from go mode, but if I could just get one of those and then I full clear that dungeon and get a ton of whatevers, I might be able to do without the other, and that's exactly what ended up happening.
So Chadbert here, struggling his way through Carry 2, Round 2. Seems to be invised up nicely, but it's a red mage and it's nuking.
And if I looked away for a second, I don't know how much damage melee did to this, if it did damage at all. Carry was enormous.
Mm-hmm. I was guesstimating 200 to 350% on the bosses.
Yeah, something along those lines.
To give you a little more insight into Chad's run, in addition to the airship problem, he also had an Astos problem. It took 3 trips, and the last trip was at 50 minutes in. So, good news.
What did Astos have?
Enough hit points to be an impediment, and enough spells to be a problem at... Oh, he's warping all the way out.
Pardon?
Right?
Chad,
I thought it was a miss menu at first. I don't even know.
Did we get levels or something? Or
maybe? Maybe.
Unclear on what we got in there. We had to have gotten something.
404. Alright, so the thing that... I know there was like a Lit 3 sword in Validation.
Yes.
But, I mean, those are spike tiles. Like, not that you ever grind on them, but...
Yeah. No, the Lit 3 sword was, like, gonna be some backup plan in some far-off version of my mind where, like, for whatever reason, I need to just, like, spam Lit 3, I guess. Is probably the ninja that was gonna do it, but that... I had so many other options before that I just never got around to it.
Yeah, I believe that one qualifies as Preparation H. You have to go through preparations A through G first. Mm-hmm. Lit 3 sword. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, pretty much from our perspective, it seemed like you pretty much read the seed as it was intended, other than, Zen0's point about the Masa was supposed to carry the seed, blah, blah, blah.
We got black magic.
Were there other areas of the seed that you found problematic? I mean, I know you had the Tia 1 wipe, and that was...
Yeah, that Tia 1 wipe was the thing that convinced me that I was losing, because, like, I was in there forever, I got a ton of levels, and now I have to... Not only do I have to go back through, but I have to try and remember, like, where all the boxes and stuff were.
Yeah. And I think that was really your first view of the scaling, right? Like that's the point where you
No.
finally.
First
Oh.
view of the scaling was Garland and Astos because they had a ton of health.
I mean, you kind of ran right over them, so I didn't really count that mentally.
I was paying attention to how many Ice 2s it took to bring Astos down, and when it was like 6, it was just like, okay, this is a thing we take note of.
Yeah, and so as you walked up to TO1, I was like, man, I feel like I'd warp out of here, save with a house, and then run back up. And then you went right back up and you took care of business. Which I felt was bold. But you managed. You managed. So that means you were right?
Yeah. I had like 18 charges or whatever of Brack. Like, as long as I got time to cast them, it should have worked. Like, it should have worked that first go. It's sometimes RNG gonna RNG, so this was the time it happened to me.
I mean, we had DVS in here. Like, we know all about bad RNG. He was yelling at me not to put the caster curse on you with various things throughout the run because you know I'm way more cautious a player than you, which is why I typically would lose to you in a race by 15 to 20 minutes. But I feel like that caution may have been merited a couple of times, and at the same time you were 100% right. Getting a melee hit from Carry 2 or Kraken 2 in this seed is a death sentence, no matter what level you are. I just man, this ending is so hard to read.
I think, looking at Chad's party, I don't know what the knight has going for it, but I feel like the red wizard white magic that I got is probably the difference maker here. Because having a third Invis 2 caster was invaluable for these fights where I needed evasion.
And I think you're right on that front. The swapped magic on items was a big deal. A fog shirt is not a white shirt, it turns out. Nor is a rub shirt. So... yeah, there's so many bad feels about various elements of this seed as you're thinking about it, right? And I'm gonna just pause for just a moment to note that we are doing everything we can. When I say that, I mean Chadbert's doing everything he can to get through this seed. I think we end up causing a slight delay on DVS versus Clementitas, which is on this very channel. So you don't even have to go very far, chat, to hang out for the next match in this series. The event continues. We've got DVS versus Clementitas at 6 o'clock Eastern right here on RPG Limit Break. And on Final Fantasy Randomizer's Twitch channel, we have Chanigan versus Pickles and Beer. Also with the mystery. It is a different mystery, if I understand correctly, right?
It is. Every mystery is different.
That makes them all the more mysterious, which is excellent. So, keep in mind, we've got some great Final Fantasy competition going on all day today, all day tomorrow. We have 3 different sets of races going on tomorrow with the semifinals and the finals of the Xeno Mystery Secret event and the Duck Derby week 1. That's that last one being at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be a good time. So just, shout out to all of our other competitors, all of the races that are going on this weekend. Got some ducks in chat.
I have other plans coming up, so I'm going to have to bounce. I'll just go ahead and give my final thoughts now. Big thank you to DVS and Saracen for comms. Big thanks to Danny for tracking. Super big thanks to Demon Frog for streaming this catastrophe. This was great. I can't wait for round 2. Hashtag who needs a fighter. Have a good night, everyone.
Good having you. GG. Have a great night, Fizzle. All right, so Lonely Saracen here in the booth. I've been abandoned by all my friends. That's not true. I still have Demon Frog around. Danny is around here somewhere. Danny is super busy, basically running all 4 of these different races today. So, thank you again, Demon Frog and Danny, for your service here. Demon Frog on the restream, Danny on tracking. Very, very helpful. If you've never done comps before, you can't do it without the other people. So, all right. With all that, we've got Chadbert back at Kraken 2. Getting the invis stacks up. Getting the lock 2s up. The lock 2s really the win condition. Fire 3 coming out of the Kraken. Doing Fire 3 things against people who have ribbons. So not a whole heck of a lot. We got Tempers. We got another Fire 3. We got a Heal 3 to cover that damage. That one Heal 3 is covering both Fire 3s worth of damage, which is great. Continuing to saber up that ninja. We got a Temper. We got a Swing. We got another Temper. It is heating up with, yet again, Fire 3 out of Kraken 2. Looks like we need some more locks, buddy. That was, I believe, one sizable hit. Lit 2 coming out of Kraken. All these free turns. That was a swing and a miss. It is very hard for me to do hype commentary on this fight because it's basically all just swings and misses and buffs. So, Chad, how are we feeling about this? We are 2 hours, 47 minutes into this race. It's exciting times. Quad X. I don't think we got to see Quad X out of Fizzle's fight. Three hits, 405. That's good. 2 hits, 2 damage. That's a number. I don't know if anybody else just noticed the same thing that Chad just noticed, but there is a run command on these Fiendry fights. That was a crit to kill through the invis stacks, so that's great. Zen0's, did you do that on purpose? Kraken 2 goes down to damage. So we're going to get some life 2s, get everybody back on their feet. Cure 3s, heal potions, whatever we need to get these people back to fighting condition. Alright. Don't worry, Nightmare Phoenix, I didn't notice it until just then either. And we're getting the elusive Masa Check chest. This is something special right here, folks. For 318 gold. So, super secret tech, you can warp back and save yourself all those steps. All right, we are on Tier 2. We still have a run command. So, Blocky Game Studio, is that a bug? Well, there's 2 possibilities. Either the Fiend is runnable, which is very strange and should not be the case. Or there's a convenience flag that says change run to wait on unrunnable encounters. And if that is checked off, then it would always say run, and you would never know if an encounter was unrunnable. In the vanilla game, there was no such flag. You would select run, and you would not be able to run. Demon Frog says, change run to wait was almost certainly turned off. I have to believe that is to be the case. And the only time I'm familiar with seeing runnable fiends, it was a bug, and somebody ran from chaos and it bricked their dive. And so yeah, runnable boss, you could run from chaos and then you wouldn't get the end credits. And chaos was gone because the sprite that you interact with to turn into chaos just disappears. So, yep, it was a very entertaining time in the community. I think it lasted for about a week, maybe. So this is, again, part of that sciencing of the mystery seeds, because we are running seeds that are completely blind. You have no idea what the flag set is. You've just got a copy of the ROM to work with. That you have to figure all this out by touch. Like, just like a dog learns, you have to stick your face in it, figure it out that way. Chad working his way through Tia 2. I think things are going relatively well because all 4 members of his party are still upright, which is, it's been impressive to keep anybody upright against any of these fiends with the scaling that we're seeing here. One minor item of concern that I'm seeing is the fighter has both the heal 3 and the cure 3 caster items. I feel like it would have been prudent to swap one of those over to somebody else. Just keep them separated so that you can continue to use all those heals. But we're making it work. Throwing out the Brack, ineffective. Throwing out the wall. Little hit out of Tia 2 against the Knight. Nothing too concerning. But we are out of Invis 2s on CCCC. We are out of Invis 2s on BBBB. That makes chaos scary. We're digging deep. We're going cake strats. One crit, 347 damage. That's something of progress. We're getting down to it. We're trying our luck at runs again. And we can't. We have lost CCCC. We are down to 3 of our party members. So chat, I have been informed, and I'm going to toss it out to you right now. I have been informed that in order to make space for the next race, it starts at 6 p.m. Eastern. So in 5 minutes, we'll be cutting stream once we hit a little bit before the hour, just to make sure that they can start on time. So, as much as I love to see the competitors finish and I love to be there for them, we are going to be making that transition shortly here if Chadbert is not able to finish the seed up. But first off, thank you. Tia 2 down. That's progress, right? So thank you for joining in case we do not get to finish it out. We are once we hit that point, we are going to be jumping over. Well, yeah, we definitely want to make sure that the other racers can start on time. Everybody's got a busy schedule, and it's been 3 hours, right? It's been a journey, and I appreciate you taking that journey with us. A journey of discovery in science. Chadbert about to start his sciencing of chaos, which is a big deal. We're getting our equipment jiggles. Very important step before we head into the fight here. All right, we've got a fight. We've got a ruse, got a saber, and a ruse. Try to be safe. Exactly, Geriatricus. It is about the friends we made along the way. We did some science. GLaDOS would be proud. And here we are at Chaos, at the final curtain. It is 5:58 p.m. Eastern. So very shortly, we're going to be cutting stream here. Hopefully, Chadbert can close it out. It's not looking good, though. We're down to 2 Warriors of Light. Just the Ninja and CCCC, the Red Mage. But we are going to let Chad play it out. Demon Frog confirming. Demon Frog, thank you for the restream again. You are fantastic. A gentleman and a scholar. And a frog. And also a demon. It turns out. All of those things. Down to the CCCC. Heroic Brack, ineffective. We're out of Bracks. We get an ink just to prolong to the cakes. Can we cake? I don't know. He's winged. And the punch comes out. Chadbert has forfeited in the race room. I cannot blame him. I believe we will be cutting over now to that next race. Again, I believe that was DVS versus Clementitas. Coming right back at us. So, chat, it's been great being with you. I don't think we're going to have time to interview our second place Chadbert here, but thank you so much for joining. Hope you stick around for the next race. Be awesome. If you haven't checked us out yet, FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. Join the Discord. It's a good time. You can join in on events like this or things that are a little less crazy. Anyway, this is Saracen. I have been joined by Demon Frog on Restream, Danny on tracking, Devious RNG, who is racing in this next race in the commentary booth. Thank you so much. Have a great night.